Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Becky.
We're registered dietitians that are passionate about food as medicine.
In this video, we are going to be making our low-carb blueberry banana muffins, which are a weekly baked goods staple.
Absolutely. Baking is a fun ritual you can do in your household and a great way to engage your children in the process. You can teach them about the nutrient benefits of whole, real foods, and you can scale a baking activity to all ages. So Stella, my almost 7-year-old, started working with mashing the banana, learning how to crack the eggs, and now she's working on measuring straight lines, using a knife to make sure that that cup and a half of almond flour is accurate, and she's doing math and orientation of direction skills.
Yes, I've worn both of my babies in the kitchen just so they have passive exposure, and then probably starting around age 1, we would actually sit on the floor and Noah would work on his fine motor skills, putting the blueberries in each muffin tin. It took a really long time and it was always 1 for you and 2 for me kind of thing, but it worked. And now we're working more on shapes and colors and counting and texture, and he can whisk and help with all of that too.
Yes, and now I think since we've been making these forever, Stella pretty much has the entire recipe memorized. So although we call this a low-carb banana blueberry muffin, I want to emphasize that the only sweetener we're using in this entire recipe is a banana. So before you freak out and say, how can you call it low carb and have a banana? Realize that bananas are a great source of prebiotics, vitamin B6 to support mood, tryptophan production, and then serotonin. Bananas are also a great form of potassium, and they provide nice soluble fiber. And realize that a muffin tin of 12 muffins is giving you just a 1/12 of a banana per muffin. So this can still absolutely be low carb without having to lean into those non-caloric sweeteners. If you're curious on why we're not adding monk fruit, erythritol, allulose, or any of those keto approved sweeteners, check out this video on why non-caloric sweeteners suck, and we make our low carb chocolate chip cookies here.
So even with that banana used and the blueberries that we're adding, this muffin is going to come in at about 6 grams of total carbs. And that's compared to a standard muffin that you might pick up at the coffee shop or something like that. That's 45 to 60 grams of carbs. Really significant difference there.
Check out this video here on metabolic flexibility. In this video, we emphasize the influence that ketosis is a metabolic state. Each individual will have a different threshold of the amount of carbs they can consume while still producing ketones. And we always go on the side of, if you're consuming whole real foods, that's going to be superior to scapegoating and using those non-caloric sweeteners. Remember, ketosis is a metabolic state, not a yes or no food list.
So as mothers, we really find the benefits of a low-carb approach, starting with our kiddos, starting when they're doing baby-led weaning. We're pairing those carbs with protein and fat and really driving with the protein and fat in most of our recipes.
Yes, channeling savory is really important with your children. This is going to support their intake of antioxidants and acceptance of vegetables. But when we're looking at the importance of lowering carbs, we see a lot of clinical studies that show that too high of carb consumption, especially refined sugars, those crunchy, snacky foods that are finding our kids at every soccer game and birthday party, can really create a lot of distress in their bodies.
Yes, having a toddler, I think, is hard enough without all of that stuff, right? Without the birthday cake and the processed carbs and all of the crap. So we can see that low carb is going to have a beneficial effect on their mood. You're not having those big spikes and drops of blood sugar. And with that is going to follow more balanced mood, less of those tantrums.
Yes, we've also seen in studies that cognitive function and testing scores require ample protein. So instead of that bowl of cereal at breakfast, we want to get eggs and maybe even some vegetable and then something like blueberries. So this recipe at being lower carb is a great vehicle that has a nice glycemic balance and could be slathered with some grass-fed butter on top and maybe served with a side of scrambled eggs.
Beyond mood, testing scores, concentration, and focus, we also see balanced energy when we're consuming a more low-carb approach, less of those hills and valleys, and more just gentle speed bumps of our energy. We're not getting that big sugar crash in the afternoon.
We also know that maintaining a low-carb approach for children prevents the risk factors associated with obesity and diabetes, which we're seeing unfortunately rise in children in America today.
And finally, when we go low carb, our choices are naturally just going to be more nutrient dense. So instead of opting for like a gluten-free flour that's still going to be pretty refined and high glycemic, we can go for something like almond flour, which is rich in healthy fats. It's going to have some vitamin E. And then we're adding some ghee as the other fat to really help to ground and stabilize our kiddos.
Then for protein, we're using whole eggs, which provide in that yolk a rich source of choline for brain and neurological function. We're also getting omega-3 fatty acids in that yolk, and we're getting a good 21 grams of protein in this recipe from adding those eggs. If you struggle with getting protein-rich foods in your child's diet, you might even consider adding a couple scoops of our pure collagen or our naturally nourished grass-fed whey.
All right, let's whip it up. Brought in a special helper for the last part of our muffin making, and we're gonna put our parchment paper liners, one in each muffin tin. Can you help me count them?
1, 2.
Good job.
Okay.
All right, now we're gonna scoop the muffins a little bit into each one. Do you wanna help with this part, or you wanna watch me?
I want to.
Okay, how about you sprinkle some blueberries with Aunt Allie?
These are delicious.
They sure are. Awesome.
Now it's time for the taste testing.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
I can really taste the blueberries.
Yes? Do you remember what we use in here to sweeten it? A hint, we mash it.
Potatoes?
Potatoes are mashed, but what else do we peel and mash?
Banana.
That's right. That's right. So we hope you love this recipe as much as we all do. Be sure to like this video, comment below if you made this with your kiddos, and be sure to subscribe to the Naturally Nourished YouTube channel to stay on top of all of our food as medicine goodness.
Subscribe if you like it.
That's right.
Say bye, friends.
Say bye, friends. Let's
Bye,
wait.
friends.
Say bye, friends.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
Ready for good.
All right, let's
do
go.
it.
Muffin time.
Muffin time.
Muffin time.
Woohoo!